Witam Was, kochani, na tym szczególnym dniu. Jest to Dzień Matki, więc jest to dzień naprawdę dzień, żeby się gromadzić przy mamie. Jak taki dzień mama moja wybrała, żebyśmy wszyscy przy niej byli. Nie będę za dużo mówiła, ponieważ pewnie więcej myśli mam niż mogę powiedzieć, ale chciałam podziękować wszystkim za wszystkie modlitwy. W tym czasie, kiedy mama przechodziła chorobę, odczuwaliśmy wielki pokój w sercu. I tak jak mówiłam wcześniej, mama nie uroniła jednej łzy z tego powodu, że była chora. Miała pokój w sercu. Pierwsza myśl była podziękować Panu Bogu za wszystkie lata, które otrzymała od Niego, ponieważ była od dziecka bardzo wierząca i to było jej chyba mottem życia, żeby wiedzieć, że Pan Bóg jest zawsze przy niej. Też należała do grona różańca, do grona seniorów w naszym kościele. I też kiedykolwiek wspominałam, że ktoś potrzebuje modlitwy, ktoś chory na raka, ktoś chory, albo nawet dziecko, które ma się narodzić i ma problemy, mama obejmowała modlitwą tą osobę. Dlatego wiemy, że to ona jest tym naszą kotwicą wiary w naszym życiu i każdy z nas to odczuwał, że bez jej modlitw pewnie byśmy sobie tak dobrze nie radzili z naszą wiarą. I want to say just a few words about in English. My mom was a very faithful angel on the earth, and through her we all received blessing of faith in God. She was praying for everybody, not just our family, but also people in the church which were in need of prayer. People she didn't even know. She would put on a list and she would be praying for them. So I thank everyone who was praying for her during this difficult journey, because she did receive quite a peace in her heart, not crying at all during the whole illness she was going through, but everything was putting in the hands of God. So I believe she is with Him right now. She is there with my dad and with Oma and Opa, which precede her to the heaven. And just want to thank you all for coming and for all the prayers you gave it to us during this difficult time. And maybe Sebastianek or Jay was going to say a few words about my mom.
Yeah, so 5:30 came along a little bit faster than I had anticipated. But anyhow, as Maria said, thank you. I won't be speaking Polish as Mario did, but the English version. Just first of all, thank you very much for coming out today, and I really would, some of you haven't had a chance to say hello to, so please spend some time with our family, please, consider doing that, before you leave as well. Happy Mother's Day to you all, as it turns out. So I want to also wish everybody the Happy Mother's Day. And also just an announcement before you do leave today as well. There's a separate room that has some, goodies and some food in there, so please help yourself to that. But sure enough, Babcia, Mama was a special person, and these days I also try to kind of stay with the youthful feeling. So most of you might be familiar with LOL, GTG, right, gotta go. TTYL. So I don't know if many of you know FGSSL. Do any of you guys know what FGSSL is? Because my mother-in-law had faith, giving, serving, strong, and loving. That's what she was. So next time you want to use an acronym and send a text to somebody and they fall into that category, just you can put down FGSSL for the acronym. It was beautiful to observe Mariola taking care of her mom, because if anybody was amazing taking care of us, whether it be the boys or Mariola, she was always there, and that's why there is that giving and serving, she did that. And that was a role reversal with Marilla, because really, the last so many weeks and months, Marilla needed to take care of Mom. And I do want to thank those of you that are here and that know that helped Marilla as well with that. So that was very special. Thank you for that. Also, House Divided, I want to make an announcement as well that we've been very excited at home that our son Dominic did get into medical school, and a House Divided, I'm an Go Blue, he's going to be a Spartan. That's not really what this is about, but a house divided, what I mean by that, most of you know my dad. My dad lived with us for about the last 5 years. He didn't know a word of, well, I shouldn't say he didn't know a word of Polish, he knew very little Polish. My mother-in-law didn't know no English, didn't know any Dutch. Marilla and I would go out to dinner, we would go to movies, and we would leave Babcia alone with my dad. And my dad was not always easy. And my mom would be here, and she could say a few words. And I grew up with my dad. He was a great guy, but a tough guy. And your mom was always an angel to my dad as well, always. So the House Divided, they gave me an excuse to talk about Dominic in medical school, but the House Divided, to talk about a House Divided. Can you imagine that, to have your mother-in-law and father-in-law together in the same home, and they could not communicate, but she made the best food around, and I'll tell you that, I may not go on with that, but so, and the last of you guys, probably one of my favorites, if not favorites performers, if you ever have a chance to see Andy Grammer, you go see him. There's a couple songs, and if I had my more opportunity, and of course, this is not all about my speech here, as it turns out, I'd like to get the boys up here as well. A couple songs that you guys want to listen to as well is A She'd Say. That's about his mother that he lost, Andy Grammer, and it's about him losing his mother and the things that grandmother would say to his daughter as well. And there's a lot of things that touching to me that we would always want our parents and our grandparents, and our grandparents in this case, to just be able to tell our children. And that name of the song is As She'd Say. And but there's a song also called These Tears. So there's two songs that stand out. And I will just, rather than play the song, because what you got to do is get into his music, because his music is amazing. I'll just do 2 paragraphs of his music, and I'm not going to sing it. Maybe I should have Marla do this. We didn't rehearse this. These tears mean that it's settling in, that I'm not going to see you again till one day in another life. But I'm going to be all right, I'm going to be all right. It don't mean I'm good with goodbye, goodbye, but it ain't all that bad when I cry, cry, cry. These tears mean letting you go. I'm learning how to be alone. I'm broken, but I give it time. I'm going to be all right. And that's Andy Grammer, but listen to the real music, and that we all have what my cousin used to say in Holland. It's called chicken skin music, right there. So, and he says it all with that. So, thank you very much.
So, just wanted to share a few memories that I have with Babcia growing up. I wrote them down. I'm not as good at speaking from maybe my heart or my mind as much, unless I do write a few words down. So, but I'd say that Babcia was someone who squeezed every drop out of life. She didn't passively go through life waiting for good things to happen. Babcia took every opportunity to seize the moment and make the most of her time. This memory that I'm about to share is one of these stories. Is probably going to be one of my favorite stories thinking of Babcia. When Babcia was at Andrew and I's wedding about 2 years ago, if you can picture this, Babcia was dancing, and as quite a few of you may have been there, Babcia was spending a lot of time on the dance floor, enjoying herself tremendously. And at some point, one of our family friends came to Babcia to invite her to sit down, to rest a little while from all the dancing, in which Babcia replies, go ahead and sit down if you're tired, but I'm going to keep dancing. And I thought that was such a joyful memory that I will never forget, to think that that was just Babcia at her full glory and joy to be able to dance at her wedding. And that next day, Babcia told me that she hasn't had that much fun in the last few years as she did at her wedding. And she meant that tremendously. Many of you may recall instances when Babcia would pull you aside and start talking to you, of course in Polish. Babcia it didn't matter to Babcia whether you spoke Polish or not. So it was a many common occurrence to walk into a room, Babcia talking to someone, and for it to be with someone that couldn't understand what Babcia had to say. But Babcia didn't care about that. She didn't see language as a complete barrier when expressing how she felt about everyone that she was with. Instead, you oftentimes saw her smiling and laughing because she wanted to be a part of everyone's joy, always looking at others, not ever at herself. A good example of this would be, and this is just quite the joy, instead of taking an opportunity to grovel in not understanding, Babcia would find every opportunity to find something joyful. A good example would be when Babcia would sit down and enjoy a Michigan football game in our living room without having a single clue about the rules of American football. And she would point and ask questions and enjoy it nonetheless. So she embraced every moment as an opportunity to give of herself to her family and friends in all that she did. She was a hard worker and a giver, whether it was working in the garden, doing chores around the home, or making food. If you knew Babcia, I'm sure you would remember she was notorious for making szarlotka, and she would make it on every occasion that she could, because that was her way of sharing love with everyone. What you may not have known is when Babcia was younger, she owned her own artificial flower shop back in Poland. You may begin to understand where my mom and Ciocia, mom's sister, began their love for landscaping and arranging beautiful flowers, such as the ones right here on her casket that Mom made for Babcia. Above all, Babcia was a woman of great faith. She smiled and laughed when you were with her, but she prayed for you when you weren't. Her great faith came from her family when she was a little girl. There's another favorite story of mine with Babcia's. It was from her childhood, and it'll always stick with me. When Babcia was 2 years old, during World War II in Poland, the Germans were invading, and in times of trouble, maybe the planes were coming through in 1936, Babcia's oldest sister took Babcia and her other siblings to a small outdoor shrine with a statue of Mary to pray for safety. Their family survived the war, but most importantly, their act of faith in God grew like a mustard seed, which later was planted in Babcia and Dziadzia's 2 little girls, with Mom, with Ciocia, and which was then passed down to their children, with Anya, Anetka, Dominique, and myself. About 2 months ago, when Babcia was resting in bed, I read Psalm 23 to her. It's a popular psalm. You may have heard it before, and it pertains to Jesus being the Good Shepherd. During Mass today, I found out that today is the Good Shepherd Sunday, which was very fitting for the day before her funeral. The psalm states, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. He anoints my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And today we pray that Babcia's soul is dancing at the feast of heaven.
Well, I'd like to start off by thanking everyone for coming today. It's really appreciated. I'll first start off with a quote in Polish and then I'll translate it. Nie przegap żadnej okazji, by czynić innych dobro. Małym uśmiechem, dobrym słowem, zawsze czyń nawet najmniejsze dobro z miłością. And in English. Miss no single opportunity of making some small sacrifice. Hereby a smile, look, thereby a kindly word, always doing the smallest right and doing it all for love. This is a quote from Saint Teresa of Lisieux from the 19th century, a nun. And she's, some of you might know, she was a nun that was known by living by the little way. She would always do great things with little things with great love. And I think that Babcia is a great example of someone who did that. She would always, and like Sebastian had all the different stories, she would always put everyone in front of herself. She was so caring and she would serve everyone around her. I grew up and she was always around and I almost never had to do any chores because she was always doing the dishes, she was always doing my laundry, she was always gardening. She always did everything for us and never thought of asking for us to help or anything. She always cared so much about us and it's something that I could never repay and I love her so much for that. And as many of you know, my dad just said that I have gone into medical school and this has been a process that I've been waiting for about a year. I applied beginning of last June and I've been waiting this whole time, and during this whole time Babcia was waiting right along with us. And I didn't find out until the day that Babcia passed. It was about an hour before that she passed that I got the news that I got into medical school, and all of us were crying so much because it was something that we've waited for so long. And the second that I got the news, I ran to Babcia's bedside and I said to her, "Dostałam do szkoły zielone i białe." And as Sebastian, and that means I got into the school green and white because like Sebastian said, when we'd watch sports on the TV, she knew that there was a maize and blue school and she knew that there was a green and white school. So I ran with her to that news, and just an hour after that, she passed. So she waited that entire time just to know that all of us were taken care of and that I'd be set for life. And she just waited for all of us to make sure that we were all taken care of, and I could have not asked for anything more of her. And I think that we should all be inspired to live a little bit like Babcia because she lived in the little way. She did little things with great love. She didn't try to do amazing things or try to solve world hunger, do all crazy things. She only tried to do the little things and serve us the way that she could. So as a conclusion, I really want you guys to try to live a little bit like Babcia and a little bit more like Christ. And thank you for everyone for coming.
Anything else? So, you want to make an announcement of the rosary service? And then move back. Or anybody else maybe if you want to say that.
Jeżeli ktoś by chciał podzielić się czymś, to zapraszamy, ale wiemy, że to jest taki czas, kiedy każdy gdzieś wewnętrznie przeżywa też moment nawet rozstania ze swoimi rodzicami wcześniej. Także za jakieś 5 minutek będziemy odmawiać różaniec. Ksiądz proboszcz ma być o 6 i zapraszamy Was wszystkich do odmówienia tego różańca z nami za duszę mojej mamy. So in about 5 minutes we're gonna have the head priest coming and doing the rosary with us. So we welcome you to stay with us and pray for Babcia's soul, since she inspired all of us, and hoping that it's going to be that faith and that her life living in our children and grandchildren, which we're expecting. And like I said to many of you earlier, this year was such a roller coaster with the emotions. We had probably the sadness, the biggest sadness in our life, to going through it, of her illness, which was tough, and there's such a joy expecting the baby girl in our family, and Dominic receiving beautiful news, and on along was a lot of the moments given to us that we felt like we were taken care of by God to just not be in the sadness of her illness. So kochamy Cię, mama, i za wszystko, co nam służyłaś, bo to był jej charyzmat, służenia drugiemu człowiekowi już od dzieciństwa do pamiętnu. Niech Pan Bóg Ci wynagrodzi w niebie i przyjmie Twoją duszę na tą ucztę niebiańską. We thank you for everything you gave it to us, and we asking, good Lord, to take your soul to the feast of heaven.
Odeszła do nieba pani Sabina. Żadnej bolączki, już tam tylko radosna mina. Rodziny wsparcia już nie potrzeba, gdy spaceruje wśród obłoków nieba. Jest wśród aniołów, wcale nie jest sama. Nasza modlitwa dociera do niej wieczorem i z rana. A ona prosi, aby nam łza się nie kręciła w oku, bo jest w wiecznej światłości, gdzie nie ma ani kropli mroku.
Maybe we could do briefly, why don't we line up here? I haven't seen a lot of these people there because the rosary prize gets started fairly soon. I think Charles is here. So we can come through the line and maybe say hello. And for those of you that would like to stay for the rosary, you're welcome, but some people may not decide to do that. If you want to stand here, it's kind of, don't you think it makes sense? Because there's a lot of people that, you know. So don't you think, Sebastian, you want to stand here with Andrew and Emily? So, yes. Hello.
I'm so sorry.
No.
He asked me to tell Father.
Wszędzie cię pełno.
Father wants us to do the rosary. about this.
Oh, green and white, yeah. Green and
He's here. We're gonna start a vote in a few minutes, so just take a seat. We'll see them after. You know, listen. If you'd like to take a seat, we're going to start. If everybody could take a seat, we start the rosary.
To eat in the other room over there, please help yourself to some turkey wraps and some desserts. And welcome to stay. Visitation is until 8 p.m., so welcome to hang out with us. Thank you very much.
We were on the west side. That was Grand Rapids. After it was just Big Rapids on the west side, and now we're going to be moving back here. So give
Może nie tak jak